Hello everyone, I welcome you again on the Education World EW YouTube portal and with the presentation on NEET 2021 Brahamastra Zoology section part 2. Last time I have discussed many important questions whose probability to come in the examination is high in the NEET 2021, and today I will continue with the section Zoology Part 2 under the banner of NEET 2021 Brahamastra, and that is totally the activity of Education World Gurdaspur, which is one of the famous institute in the city of Gurdaspur, Punjab. So if I first of all discuss with reference to the style of examination of NEET 2021, as the paper is on Sunday, 12th of September. In the section of biology, now the students have to attempt 90 questions, but due to the relaxation given in the COVID pandemic, 100 questions have to be asked by the NTA. And this time you will see the botany as well as the zoology section separately. The botany section with the 50 questions and zoology section with the 50 questions. But you are allowed to attempt only 45 in botany and 45 in zoology. That is, the 5 questions are given in additional as your optional questions. So today I will discuss some of the important questions of zoology section. In the zoology you can have 50 questions in the examination and you have to attempt 45 only. 5 questions are given as optional, and the scheme of the paper in zoology is 35 plus 15. You can get the option only in the 15 questions in the section B of zoology part. So the first question, if I would discuss here, that is myelin sheath is produced by. Myelin sheath is basically the fatty sheath, which is also known as medullary sheath, which is present around the neurons, not in all the neurons, but in the medullated or myelinated neurons. And this fatty layer sheath is basically, your myelin sheath is produced by Schwann cells and oligodendrocytes. Schwann cells, they are the cells which are associated with the neurons, and they lay down the myelin sheath around the neurons, and they are further helped by oligodendrocytes. Then if I will consider the other options, astrocytes, they are the star-shaped cells, phagocytic cells in the brain. Oligodendrocytes and osteoclasts. Osteoclasts are the bone-destroying cells, and hence this option is not correct. And again in the third option you can have the osteoclast and astrocytes. The option is incorrect. The correct option is D, Schwann cell and oligodendrocyte. The second question, important question in front of you. Receptor side for the neurotransmitters they are present on. The neurotransmitters, they are produced by neurons and they help in the conduction of nerve impulse. Neurotransmitters, they are synthesized by the neurons and they are packed in the synaptic vesicles, and the receptor sites, they are present on the surface of another neuron and over the membrane of the neuron, which is called as postsynaptic membrane. The option C is correct. Then the next important question is, good vision depends upon adequate intake of carotene rich food. Select the best option from the following statements. Vitamin E derivatives are formed from the carotene. Yes, it is right, because we know that vitamin A is derived from the beta carotene. The second option is, the photopigments are embedded in the membrane disk of the inner segment, which is false. It is present in the outer segment. Then thirdly, retinol is a derivative of vitamin A. Yes, vitamin A is chemically referred with the name of retinol, and is derived from, retinol is derived from the vitamin A. So hence the third statement is also correct. Then the fourth one is, retinol is a light absorbing part of all the visual photopigments. It is incorrect, because it is not the retinol but it is opsins also, which is helping in the process of vision formation. So hence we say in this case the question this question has correct option B, that is both 1 and 3rd statements, they are the correct statements. In question number 4, choose the correct statement. Nociceptors responds to changes in pressure. Nociceptors, they are the pain receptors. They don't respond to pressure. Hence, this option is incorrect. B is Meissner corpuscles are thermoreceptors. No. Meissner corpuscles, they respond to pressure. Then C option is photoreceptor in the human eye are depolarized during darkness and become hyperpolarized in response to the light stimulus. Yes, it is correct, because we know the biochemistry of the vision, that is when the light falls on the photopigments, then they get splitted up and lead to direction in the visual cells, helping in the vision perception. The C option is correct option. Last option is receptor don't produce graded potential. It is incorrect. The receptors, they are responsible for receiving the signals and they are capable of producing the graded potentials. Hence the correct statement is C. Then question number 5 is photosensitive compound in the human eye is made up of. The photosensitive compound in the human eye is made up of, that is primarily made up of opsin and retinal. Okay, that is made up of opsin and retinal. The option D is. Then destruction of the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord would result in the loss of. Okay, we know that the spinal cord is having the two horns. One is the anterior, second is the posterior. And anterior horn cells, they are primarily responsible for having the relay impulses for voluntary motor actions. So hence, if we see the options, the option D is compatible option, that is destruction of the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord would result in the loss of voluntary motor impulses. Question number 7. In mammalian eye, the fovea is the center of visual field where only rods are present, more rods than cones are found, high density of cones occur but no rods. D option is the optic nerve leaves the eye. So for your kind information, we know that within the eye, especially in the retina, there is a point which is called as macula lutea or yellow spot. And within the yellow spot, there is an area which is called as fovea centralis. This fovea centralis is the point of most distinct vision because it is based with cone cells only. There are no rods in the fovea. So hence the option you may see here, the C option is compatible. High density of cones occur but no rods are there. And this is a center of visual field, most distinct vision. Question number 8 is a gymnast is able to balance his body upside down even in the total darkness. It is due to, we know that it is due to the vestibular apparatus which is present in the internal ear. Okay, and this vestibular apparatus is comprised of semicircular canals, utricle and saccule, and we know that it is also responsible for balancing. Question number 9 is which of the following regions of the brain is incorrectly paired with its function? Following region of the brain is incorrectly paired with its function. So primarily we know that if we see the option one by one, corpus callosum, communication between left and right cerebral cortex. Yes, it is correct. We know that in mammalian brain there is corpus callosum which connect the right and left cerebral hemispheres together. Second option is cerebrum, calculation and contemplation. Yes, it is also correct because we know that the cerebrum, it is having the centers which are responsible for calculation and as well as contemplation as well. Medulla oblongata is responsible for homeostatic control. Yes, it is also correct. And option D is cerebellum. It is concerned with the language comprehension. This is incorrect because we know that cerebrum is responsible for the language comprehension. Question number 10 is injury localized to the hypothalamus would most likely disrupt. We know that the hypothalamus has multiple functions within our body. It acts as supreme commander of endocrine system. It is also function as a part of the brain. and it also acts as thermoregulatory center of the body. So if the injury takes place to the hypothalamus, most likely there may be disturbances in the regulation of body temperature. Then question number 11 is a chemical signal that has both endocrine as well as a neural role is. We know that out of this list, epinephrine, which is also called as adrenaline, it is having both endocrine as well as a neural functions, because epinephrine is also secreted by neurons as one of the neurotransmitter. In addition to that, it is also secreted by adrenal gland, especially the cells of adrenal medulla. Question number 12 is identify the hormone with its correct matching of source and functions. Oxytocin, posterior pituitary, growth and maintenance of the mammary gland. This is incorrect because we know that oxytocin hormone, it is not responsible for growth and maintenance of the mammary gland. Growth and maintenance of the mammary gland is basically facilitated through prolactin hormone. Oxytocin is a milk ejaculating hormone. It is not responsible for maintenance of mammary glands. Then melatonin, this hormone is secreted by pineal gland, regulates the normal rhythm of sleep-wake cycle. Yes, this option is the correct option. Option B is correct. Then option C, progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum, stimulation of the growth and activity of female secondary sex organ. The second line is incorrect because we know that the progesterone is not responsible for stimulation of the growth and activity of female secondary sex organs. It is basically done through estrogen hormones. Then D is atrial natriuretic factor, which is secreted by ventricular wall. Not at all. It is secreted by the atrial cardiocytes, and it basically gets secreted by the heart wall, especially the cells of atria, when more deoxygenated blood returns to right auricle. Hence the option B is correct. Question number 13 is fight or flight reactions cause activation of. We know that hormone which is called as adrenaline hormone, epinephrine hormone, it is also known as a 3F hormone, the hormone of fear, flight and fright. So this hormone is primarily secreted by the adrenal medulla. So hence the correct option is third one, the adrenal medulla, leading to increased secretion of epinephrine and norepinephrine. Several hormones like HCG, human chronic gonadotrophin, HPL, human prolactin, and lactogen, estrogen, progesterone, they are produced by placenta, because chiefly the HCG is produced by the placenta only. Then question number 15 is a pregnant woman delivers a baby who suffers from stunted growth, mental retardation, low IQ and abnormal skin. This is a result of this is primarily the result of deficiency of iodine in the diet, because iodine, it is responsible for the normal growth of mental faculties, IQ, as well as it is also responsible for having the normal skin. So hence out of these four options, the option C is correct one. Then question number 16, which of the following statement is correct in relation to the endocrine system? No nutrient chemical produced by the body in trace amounts that act as intracellular messengers are known as a hormone. Yes, it is correct, and you may see this is the duplicate line which is given in the NCERT for the definition of the hormones. This is a correct option. Option D is releasing and inhibitory hormones are produced by the pituitary gland. It is not correct. Releasing hormones, they are secreted by hypothalamus. The gene of hypophysis is under direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus. Not at all. It is under the vascular control of hypothalamus, because adenohypophysis is connected with the hypothalamus through blood vessels. Organs in the body like gastrointestinal tract, heart, kidney and liver don't produce any hormone. They can act as a secondary endocrine gland. They may secrete certain hormones, and hence option B, C and D are incorrect. The correct option is option A. Question number 17 is ectopic pregnancy are referred to as when the fertilized egg get implanted outside the uterus area. This is simply called as ectopic pregnancy, and hence we can say that D option is correct one, implantation of embryo at site other than the uterus. Question number 18 is AIDS is caused by the human retrovirus that primarily kills T helper cells. We know that. and the T helper cells, they express CD4 molecules over their surfaces. CD stand for cluster of differentiation. So hence option C is correct. CD4 positive T lymphocytes, they are primarily attacked by HIV virus. CD4 cells are also known as the T4 cells or helper cells. CD8 cells are the killer cells. They are the T killer cells or killer T cells. So primarily the CD4 cells, they are attacked by AIDS virus. Question number 19 is norepinephrine is released by the sympathetic fibers. Yes, it is correct. Is released by the parasympathetic? Not at all. Option third is increases the heart rate. Yes. Decreases blood pressure. False. Option 1 and 3 are correct. It means that A option in this case is correct one. Question number 20, which of the following represents the action of insulin? Primarily we know that insulin causes the conversion of glucose into glycogen, and hence the option D, it is very much relevant option. Increases blood, this is not the correct one, that is increases blood glucose, that decreases blood glucose level by forming the glycogen. B option is the correct one. Okay, the D option is the correct one. Insulin primarily decreases the blood glucose levels by the formation of the glycogen. It promotes the conversion of the glucose into glycogen. Then which of the following is not the function of the placenta? Placenta, primarily the function which is not the prime function of the placenta is that it secretes oxytocin during parturition. Placenta is not responsible for secreting the oxytocin during parturition. Actually, it is the maternal pituitary gland that secretes oxytocin during parturition process due to the fetal ejection reflex. Question number 22 is menstrual flow occurs due to the lack of. We know that when the level of the progesterone hormone increases, then the menstrual flow stops. Okay, because progesterone hormone is a pregnancy favoring hormone. So when this hormone is secreted in high amount in the blood, it means that the female is pregnant. So hence this menstrual flow stops when the progesterone level is high. The menstrual flow occurs due to the lack of progesterone. Then question number 23, which of the following event is not associated with ovulation in human female? And we know that the A option is correct, release of secondary oocyte, because secondary oocyte is formed when the sperm fuses with the ovum in the fallopian tube. Then the ovum completes the second division and second maturation division, and secondary oocyte get formed. So this is not associated with the ovulation in case of human female. All other options, they are associated with the ovulation. That is LH surge. The level of the LH hormone increases at the time of ovulation. Decrease in the estradiol is there. Full development of Golgi follicle is there. Then question number 24, in our society, women are blamed for producing female children. Choose the correct answer for the sex determination in the human being, and we know that it is the X and Y chromosome donated by the sperm which is responsible for fixing the sex of the baby. So hence the B option is very much right, due to the genetic makeup of particular sperm which fertilizes the egg, that is responsible for sex determination in human beings. Question number 25 is the fetal ejection reflex in the humans triggers the release of, primarily it triggers the release of oxytocin from fetal pituitary gland, not from the fetal, from maternal pituitary gland, and this hormone then facilitates the birth process due to the contraction of smooth muscle fibers of the uterus area. Question number 26 is which one of the following statement is false in respect of viability of mammalian sperm? So we can say the A option is false, because sperm is not viable only up to the 24 hours. The sperm viability can extend up to the 3 days. And second option is correct one, true one. Survival of the sperm depends upon the pH of the medium and is more active in the alkaline medium. Yes, it is correct. Viability of the sperm is determined by its motility. Yes. And sperms must be concentrated in the thick suspension. Yes. So hence the A option is almost false. Then signals for parturition originate from, the signals for parturition originates from both placenta as well as fully developed fetus. They basically responsible for giving the parturition reflexes. Then in 28th question, in a normal pregnant woman, the amount of the fetal gonadotrophin activity was assessed. The result expected was high level of circulating FSH and LH in the uterus to stimulate implantation of the embryo. False. High level of circulating SCG to stimulate endometrial thickening. Yes, it is right, because we know that the female is pregnant and the pregnancy favors the thickening of the uterine wall due to the secretion of SCG hormone. Hence the B option is correct. Question number 29 is the Leydig cells are found in the human body are the secretory sources of. Leydig cells, they secrete androgen hormone, testosterone. It is secreted by the Leydig cells, and testosterone is responsible for controlling the male secondary sex reactors. In addition to that, it is also responsible for maturation of the spermatozoons. Question number 30, how many sperms are formed from a secondary spermatocyte? So we know that in the process of spermatogenesis, one secondary spermatocyte gives rise to two spermatids, and each spermatid get transformed into sperm. So hence the correct option is C, 2. Spermatocyte gives rise to the two sperms. Then the two opposite forces operating in the growth and development of every population, one of them is related to the ability to reproduce at a given rate, which is also known as birth rate, and the force opposite to it is fecundity, environmental resistances, biotic control or mortality, and we know that environmental resistances. Okay, when the birth rate is high, the environmental resistances, they increases as per Malthus theory of human population growth. Then in question 32, we have in a population unrestricted reproductive capacity is called as, this is called as biotic potential. Biotic potential is the unlimited potential of some living species to produce maximum number of individuals. Then what is the work of copper T? The work of copper T is, we know that copper T is one of kind of IUD, intrauterine device, and it inhibits the ovulation as well as implantation process. So hence in this case both option A as well as C are correct. That is to inhibit the ovulation as well as to inhibit the implantation of the blastocyst. Then what is the work of the progesterone which is present in the oral contraceptive pills? So progesterone primarily checks the ovulation process. Okay, and question number 35 is tablets to prevent male contraception contain LH and FSH hormone. That is D option is correct, both B and C. The most important component of the oral contraceptive pill is the progesterone hormone. Okay, the contraceptive pills, they contain either progesterone or estrogens. They may be mini pills or combined pills. The mini pills, they contain only single hormones such as progesterone. Question number 37, the present population of the world is about, we know that it is near about 6 billion. Then the fetal sex can be determined by examining cells from the amniotic fluid by looking for, we know that when the fetal sex has to be determined, we are using a technique which is called as amniocentesis. And in this case, the amniotic fluid is taken out and it is assessed for bar body. Okay. Because we know that female is having 2 X chromosome and one of the X chromosome is permanently heterochromatic, and it turned into a darkly stained body which is attached to the surface of nuclear envelope on the inner side, which is given the name bar body as it is discovered by Dr. Barr. And actually it is one of the X chromosome of the female cell. And the test tube baby means the fertilization is done in vitro and then zygote is transplanted in the uterus. Option B is correct. Then question number 40, in India, human population is heavily weighted towards the younger age groups as a result of, it is due to the shorter lifespan of man individual and high birth rate. In India, human population is heavily weighted towards the younger age group as a result of short lifespan of man individual and high birth rate. Yes, option A is correct. Question number 41, increased asthmatic attack in certain seasons are related to eating fruits preserved in the tin containers, inhalation of seasonal pollen, low temperature, hot and humid environment. So primarily asthmatic attack in the certain season is primarily related with the inhalation of seasonal pollen grains. Then if you suspect major deficiency of antibodies in a person, to which of the following would you look for the confirmatory evidence? We know that the antibodies are also known as immunoglobulins. These are the globular proteins which are found in the blood plasma. So hence, if you want to detect the level of the antibodies, kindly you have to assess the level of serum globulin proteins. Option A would be the correct option. Then question number 43, lysozyme that is present in the perspiration, saliva and tears destroy. We know that the lysosome is a bactericidal enzyme. Option A is correct. It can kill certain types of the bacteria. Then question number 44 is the causative agent of mad cow disease. Mad cow disease is primarily caused by proin, okay, which is a proteinaceous infectious portion of the virus. Then the bacterium Clostridium botulinum that causes botulism or food poisoning, that is primarily, we know that it is obligate anaerobe. Option C is correct. Then HIV that causes AIDS first start destroying helper T cells. Thereafter it attacks on other cells. Then question number 47, a person showing unpredictable moods, outburst of emotions, quarrelsome behavior, conflicts with others is suffering from. This is the case of BPD, borderline personality disorder. Then the next one is antibodies in our body are complex. They are the complex glycoprotein molecules. Then which one of the following depresses brain activity and produces feelings of calmness, relaxation and drowsiness? Actually, we know that it is the role of some sedative which is expressed in the question, and out of the list, Valium is a kind of sedative. It is a benzopyrene molecule, benzo group molecule, and it is primarily function as sedative. Then question number 50, last question. Damage to the thymus in a child may lead to. We know that the thymus is also known as the gland of the young, and it is the gland which produces a hormone which is called as alpha thymosin hormone. Alpha thymosin hormone is responsible for maturation of the T cells in the bone marrow, and T cells, they are responsible for generation of cell mediated immunity. So hence in this case we can say damage to the thymus in a child may lead to loss of cell mediated immunity. D option is correct option. I have discussed the important questions in the NEET section today. If you like this presentation, kindly subscribe our channel Education World YouTube, and you may press the bell icons to have the further notifications of some important lectures which has to be uploaded on Education World EW YouTube channel periodically. So thank you so much for your passionate listening, and best of luck for your examination on September 12th, 2021 NEET. May you got your seat in the medical college. We are hoping so. Thank you so much.